You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings by $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Summer's supposed to be the easy season. So why are so many people quietly Googling a therapist between summer Fridays? Because more daylight doesn't fix the hard stuff. Sometimes it just turns the volume up. Grow does therapy differently. Grow connects you with thousands of high-quality licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. The therapist you want takes your insurance on Grow. Grow accepts over 125 insurance plans. Sessions average $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/ACAST today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/ACAST. growtherapy.com/ACAST. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Support is available 24/7 with VerboCare. We're here day or night, ready whenever you need help. Because a great trip starts with the right support.
Welcome to our Roblox Horror Stories podcast. The next scary story is about the Roblox game, Animal Hospital. We'd like to announce our new Roblox game, Giant Simulator. Check it out. The link is in the description. Happy listening and enjoy the new story. Nobody ever asks the question. That is the strange part when you think about it. Thousands of players work the night shift at the Animal Hospital every single night. They stand at the check-in window. They inspect the patients. They learn the signs. The glowing third eye ringed in orange. The hollow empty sockets. The smiles stretched too wide over teeth that don't belong to any animal. And when the checks fail, they all do the same thing. They hit the big red button, and the metal shutters slam down, and the anomaly is rejected, denied, turned away, problem solved. And then everyone moves on to the next patient, and nobody, not one player in 100, ever asks the question, where do the rejected ones go? You close the shutters. You count to 3, you open them again, and the window is empty. And the dark parking lot sits quietly beyond the glass, and the next patient shuffles up out of the night. The thing with the wrong teeth is simply gone, off the screen, out of your mind. Beck, June, and Frankie had rejected hundreds of anomalies between them. They were good at it, good enough to be deep into the late shifts, where the hospital gets truly dark and truly strange. And on the night this story happened, they finally learned the answer to the question nobody asks. The rejected ones don't go anywhere. They wait. The 3 of them ran a tight shift, the way you have to once the easy nights are behind you. Beck worked the desk. He played secretary, and he was the kind of desk worker other players watched clips of to learn from. He ran the inspection in strict order every time. Look at the eyes. Look at the teeth. Watch the body for twitching. Print the photo, and this was the rule that separated the good from the gone. Let it develop all the way. Never pull a photo off the printer early. A half-developed cursed image hits your sanity twice as hard as a finished one. And sanity, at the Animal Hospital, is the whole game. It's your health bar and your mind at once. It drains when anomalies scare you, when you make mistakes, when the hospital does the things the hospital does at night. When it hits 0, your shift is over in the worst way. June ran the cameras, head nurse class, all 4 feeds, check-in, lobby, medical wing, and the emergency camera you only unlock deep in the run. Some anomalies look perfect at the window and only show their real faces on CCTV, and only from certain angles. So June rotated her feeds in a steady loop all night, patient as a lighthouse. And Frankie was security. Taser on his belt, unlocked back on their third shift and upgraded twice since. Frankie's other job was the supply shop, keeping the team stocked with coffee and food, because coffee restores sanity, and sanity is the whole game. And Frankie treated the supply run the way a real hospital treats medicine. Before this shift, he'd stocked them deep, a full row of coffees, snacks, everything their coins could buy. "We're set for anything," he'd said at the start of the night at 11 o'clock. When the shift clock started its slow crawl towards 6 in the morning, he was almost right. The first strange thing about that night was how many of them came. A normal shift has a rhythm. Most patients are real, ordinary sick animals that you check, admit, and send down the corridor to their rooms. Anomalies are the exception, scattered through the night like bad cards in a deck. Not tonight. The first patient of the night was a cat, with a third eye glowing orange above its real ones. Textbook. Beck shuddered it before it finished arriving. The second patient was a dog, whose photo developed to show hollow, scooped-out sockets. Shuddered. The third had human teeth. The fourth twitched. The fifth looked perfect at the window and had no face at all on camera feed 1.
Summer's supposed to be the easy season, so why are so many people quietly Googling a therapist between summer Fridays? Because more daylight doesn't fix the hard stuff. Sometimes it just turns the volume up. Grow does therapy differently. Grow connects you with thousands of high-quality licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. The therapist you want takes your insurance on Grow. Grow accepts over 125 insurance plans. Sessions average $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/ACAST today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/ACAST. growtherapy.com/ACAST. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
In a place where every drop of water counts and every kilowatt of power matters, so does every promise. This is our promise. We'll restore twice the water we consume, and we'll pay for our own electricity and upgrade the grid. Meta is investing $10 billion to help build El Paso's future. Because we don't just build here, we invest here. Learn more at meta.com/building El Paso.
"5 for 5, June said slowly. "Beck, we're 5 patients in and we haven't admitted a single real animal." "Lucky streak," Frankie said. "For who?" By 1 in the morning, the count was 11 rejected, 0 admitted. 11 anomalies. One after another. Every check failing. Every photo wrong. The shutters slamming down again and again. And their sanity bars ticking lower with each one. Because that's the cost of the job. Every cursed photo. Every wrong face. Every rejection takes its little bite. Frankie passed out coffees. The bars crept back up. The window filled again. It was 1:40 a.m. when June, in the middle of her camera loop, went quiet in the specific way that made both boys stop what they were doing. "June, check-in feed," she said. "Not the window. Past the window. The parking lot." The check-in camera looks at the window from inside, and through the glass you can see a slice of the world outside. The pool of light from the lamp over the entrance, and beyond it, the dark parking lot where the night comes from. At the far edge of the light, exactly where the brightness gave up and the dark began, something was standing. It was the cat, the first one. The third eye was unmistakable, a small orange ember floating in the gloom. It wasn't approaching. It wasn't leaving. It stood at the border of the light with the stillness of a parked car, facing the window. That's the one from 11 o'clock, Beck said. That's the first reject. It's been almost 3 hours. It never left, June said. Beck, I don't think any of them leave. I think we just never look. She was right. Now that they knew where to look, they could see the others, further back, deeper in the dark, arranged along the edge of the light like beads on a string. The hollow-eyed dog, the one with the teeth, the twitcher, the faceless one. 11 shapes, spaced out, motionless, all facing the same direction. Facing the window. Facing them. Okay, Frankie said at 2:15 a.m., pacing the little office with his taser in his hand like a comfort blanket. Okay, let's think about this like players. They're outside. We're inside. The window has shutters. The game has never, not once on any shift, had an anomaly come through a closed shutter. The shutter is the rule. As long as we can close the window, we're safe, right? That's the design. That's the whole game. Then why are they waiting? June asked. Maybe they always wait. Maybe every shift ends like this, and nobody's ever pointed a camera at the parking lot at 2 in the morning. Frankie. June's voice was flat. Count them. Frankie looked at the feed. Counted. Counted again. 14, he said quietly. We've rejected 13. Out at the edge of the light, the newest shape stood a half-step closer than all the others, as if it had arrived late and was still finding its place in line. They had never seen it before. It had never come to the window. It had skipped the queue, skipped the checks, skipped the whole polite theater of pretending to be a patient, and joined the crowd directly. That was the moment the three of them stopped believing the night was a lucky streak. Things were coming out of the dark now that weren't even bothering to try the window. The line at the edge of the light wasn't a coincidence, and it wasn't leftovers. It was an audience, assembling. New plan, Beck said. We keep working the shift. We keep the checks tight. Nobody makes a mistake. Nobody loses sanity we can't afford. And at 6 in the morning, the shift ends and we clock out the way we always do. Shift report. Fade to lobby. Done. They can stand in the parking lot until the sun comes up if they want. We're behind the desk. We're behind the shutters. We just have to last until 6. It was a good plan. It lasted until 3 a.m. exactly, when every light in the parking lot went out at once. Every light except the one lamp over the entrance. And the crowd at the edge of the dark all took one step forward at the same time. And the knocking began. You need to understand what the knocking did mechanically, because the mechanics were the horror. Nothing came through the glass. Frankie was right about the rule. The window held. The shutters held. The design held. All night long. Not one of them got in. They didn't need to get in. The first knock came from the window. A single soft tap from a deer standing suddenly in the pool of lamplight with its 2 human eyes an inch from the glass. And all 3 sanity bars dipped. Not much. A sliver. The cost of a small scare. Same as any jump scare the hospital had ever thrown at them. Then the second knock. Then the third. Then knocking from the walls, which should have been impossible. From the dark windows of the lobby. Light patient tapping from a dozen places at once. Never hard, never violent. Nothing breaking, nothing forcing. Just tap, tap, tap. And every tap took its sliver. They were not trying to break the glass. They were trying to break the meter. They're farming us, Beck breathed, watching his sanity bar tick down in slow, steady bites. They can't get past the shutters, so they're going after the only thing they can reach. If our sanity hits 0, the run ends. The run ends, and he didn't finish. Nobody knew what came after a run that ended at 0 with 14 of them standing outside. Nobody wanted to learn. Coffee, Frankie said, and Brookhaven calm became battlefield calm. We ration. Nobody drinks until their bar is under half. June, kill the feeds you don't need. Every cursed face you look at costs us. Beck, shutters stay down between patients. We only open for the queue. There is no queue, June said. No patient has come to the window in an hour. There are no real patients left tonight. There's just them. She was right about that too. And it was somehow the loneliest fact of the whole night. Somewhere out there, the ordinary sick animals of the game, the ones this hospital existed for, had stopped coming. As if they knew. As if every real creature for miles had looked at the building and decided tonight was not the night. 3:40 a.m. Tap tap. Sanity. Beck 61%. June 55%. Frankie 64%. Coffee stock. 8:15 a.m. The deer at the window had been joined by the hollow-eyed dog, both faces close to the glass under the last lamp, both perfectly still between knocks. June had cut her monitors down to one feed. Tap tap. Sanity. 52%. 48%. 55%. Coffee. 6:50 a.m. The printer turned itself on and printed a photo nobody had taken. Beck, handshaking, obeyed the oldest rule. Never look early, and let it develop fully. Face down, then turned it over. It was a photo of the parking lot, taken from outside, looking in. Through the window, small and bright in the little office, 3 tiny figures could be seen at their stations. The photo cost them all a bite of sanity anyway.